Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Gyle here, and welcome back to another Supreme Commander epic. I don't get to say that half as often as I would like, time usually not permitting, and with that in mind, today's actually no exception. So I'm going to get straight on with the action here, no prattling about the beginning of this one. It's going to be a custom 4v4 and it's going to take place on hilly plateaus. So let's head on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Hilly Plateau, of course, we're all pretty familiar with. Let's take a look at the teams. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top right, and this Team 2 down at the bottom left. So, for Team 1, right up here at the top, in Cyanide Cyan, haven't heard me say that before, but that is how it shall be known henceforth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sick to death of the endless rhetoric and arguments and discussions about whether that's teal, turquoise, tortoiseshell, tangerine, whatever it might be. It is going to be cyan because those who were wanting it to be cyan made the most noise, threw the biggest tantrum, and their tears made the carpet the most moist. So therefore, it's going to be cyanide side. Anyway, it's Corwin. He's going cyanide side. He's going UEF, opening first land. Secondly, for Team 1 over here at the edge of the map, my good friend Freshie, if we get him in shot there, going Ferrari red, and he's going Cybran, opening first land. Thirdly, for Team 1 over here, breast cancer awareness pink, feeling very feminist today, and he's going Seraphim first land. And lastly but not least, for Team 1 over here in burgundy red, it's Robo Danny going UEF, opening first and second land. So that's Team 1. Over here for Team 2, down at the bottom, it's Sir Croft. Wanting to call him Lara Croft since he's sporting baby pink, but we shan't. I shall resist the temptation. Anyway, he's going UEF, opening first land. Secondly, for Team 2 up here, it's TGX's Legend Law, and I'm not going to point out the fact that I missed out the D in Legend, because I thought Legend was spelt just L-E-G, but I could be wrong. Anyway, it's how he spelt it, and I also won't go to the fact that I couldn't fit the extra letter in the table, but I'm sure you won't mind. Anyway, he's going Aeon Mellow Yellow, opening first land. Thirdly, for Team 2's my good friend GFY Depony, he's already on the move there in Baby Blue, going UEF, opening first land, second air. And last but definitely not least, also on the move in Olive Green, it's Vexy, and I can call him amongst my friends now. Definitely played a few games with him recently. He keeps going GG Gyle, GG, because every time he sees me, he likes to remind me of the fact that he scalped me in the game that we played. And someone really does need to tell him that that's not actually an achievement. But nonetheless, he did very well. I'm expecting great things from him today. Anyway, that's Team 2, and that is how the teams match up. And incidentally, he and GFY Depony have been playing quite a bit together recently. I did actually get a 44 Canis sent in to me the other day, and it was those two literally own the map. The reason I didn't cast it was because it was pretty lopsided in terms of bats. It was one-sided, I should say. Seemed to be their team just kind of rolled away with it. They built this epic PD Maginot line north of Canis River on the enemy bank and just went right the way up the map and dismantled the opponents. But my point I'm trying to get at is expect good teamwork from these two. I would be very surprised if they're not on comms communicating, so look out for that. So Team 1 also on the move slightly. Robo Danny coming forward to the middle. He's got his ACU out there. He's going to put together a little forward production facility there once he's grabbed that mech. Executioner always also on the move, looking to make a move towards the middle. Got two mechs there and a ton of mass to pick up, but we got a bomber out from Corwin. Looks like he might be taking the first little kill in this game. It's an engineer from Depony that bites the dust. And he's not going to hang about. He's going to move straight on towards the base. I like that maneuver. There are some clumped NGs, and he did have a scout plane out, so he might have seen that already. Indeed, he has. Depony needs to move. He hasn't managed it. Both of those engineers bite the dust and cancels that build order. But there's 3 more engineers over here for Legend Law, also in danger. Boom, baby. 3 engineers down from 1 bomber. That is a very cost-effective bomber indeed. I don't think he's going to get much else done. Legend Law has an inti on his tail, and that will be the end of that little tail. But nonetheless, very good work there from Corwin. Nice hampering of the opposing teams. Very nicely done indeed. A second bomber coming out for Corwin. He needs to deal with the intel structures. We've got a radar here and another one over here as well for Vexy, and he is actually taking a left turn just as I say it, coming over the top of that radar. Bombs away, going for that. He won't make the second one, however, even though it looked like he was beelining for it. Again, Legend Lore picking that up. So it looks like we're going to have, or continue to have, pretty decent intel for the moment for Team 2. And we've already got Tech 2 on Depony's comm. You can see him spamming together, or throwing up, I should say, a triad. People not liking the term spamming together when it's small groups of engineers doing stuff. But anyway, he's putting it together, and it's very early indeed. 4.5 minutes, and that's going online, and that's going to provide excellent protection there for Team 2. Team 1 not pushing with their commanders. They've got the radar signature on that already, having already checked it out, so they know to give that a wide berth. Looks like they'll be doing that for the moment, not looking to push the middle too hard. Executioner happy to sit back here. He's going to throw together a little base at the corner. So Team 1 not looking to push themselves here. They're quite happy to let these guys sit in the middle. It's a risky proposition, like I say. There's a ton of mass to be got in the middle here in terms of reclaim. Depony asking for more air in the mid, concerned about the bombers from Freshie circling overhead, and of course Corwin as well coming in with yet another bomber. Corwin on an upgrade on his commander there, and is Executioner one? No, he's just building a land factory. But like I say, look at these two guys camping out in the middle. It's going to be a feature of this game, but it's going to be tough for Vexy. Taking a look at how things stack up on the ranking front, it does look a little bit stacked in favor of Team 1. They've got an overall higher collective ranking, and Sir Croft at the bottom corner, you can see he seems to be short stacking by a considerable margin. 3.2. Everybody else is 4K and above on score, and obviously giving up a lot of ranking points to everybody else in this game. The next lowest is Robo Danny at 1234. He's on 1083. So it's going to be tough, especially when you think that this side of the map he's facing off against Freshie and Executioner, two of the highest ranked people in this game. So he needs to get as much assistance from Vexy as possible, which is going to make Vexy's job hard, reinforcing the middle and making sure that there aren't any breaches on this bottom edge of the map. The odd unit coming forward from Danny, Lobo-wise, trying to range some of these point defense, not getting any traction there. Of course, it would work fine if there wasn't good intel in the area, but there is a nicely defended radar station right in the middle of this base. We'll knock that up to +1 or maybe even +2 to allow this game to move on slightly. Freshie coming overhead with yet another bomber, taking that Sky Slammer out and an accompanying Mantis. Legend Lore gonna move some inties to intercept. And Vexy actually doing reasonably well on spam for the moment. He's going to struggle if he wants to push up any further though, because Freshie is very far south indeed with his comm, throwing together some factories. He already has an autogun in place. He's also queued up what looks like a ton of static anti-air. So lots of tracers ready to go once that factory gets completed. And already a little bit of a breakthrough here from Executioner, moving in with a group of FAMs. Vexy rushing to the defense of this canyon here, moving in a bunch of Mantis in behind those units of Executioner. And he's going to be able to tidy up that without any real difficulty. What's happening at the top? Depony's making a little bit of a push. Legend Lore not pushing so hard. He's focusing very much more on the air game, and he's already got T2, and he looks like he's already producing Swift Winds. So take a look at how that matches up. Is that going to be a tech advantage in the air? Can't see any T2 air factories out for Team 1, so currently Legend Lore the only guy with T2 air in place. We'll see if that makes any difference at all. He's also the only player in this game going Aeon, so could be potentially a difficulty for Team 1 a little bit later on. Aeon, in case you're wondering, the newbies have certain advantages for back air players. Restorers, of course, incredibly powerful. Swift Winds are, of course, the best air unit for T2. Don't have the ability to attack ground, of course, but they are the best in the air at shooting down other planes. Corwin and Depony having a little jostle up there at the top, but a really solid little bit of base war going on in the center, and we've actually got a TAC missile launcher that has been put together by Corwin, and a few TAC missiles have already been launched, but pretty good scouting going on by these two in the middle. We already have buzzkills in place, and a Ravager's nearly been completed. So is that T3 on Depony's comm? Yes, it is, and that's going to be nasty. Once again, these guys are going to have to fall back, and that's going to yield quite a considerable amount of map control to Team 2, and you can see they primaried the TAC missile launcher there. That is now out of commission, and all these units for Robo-Danny, including the commander, are going to have to back up. Vexy still jostling backwards and forwards, though, with this modest group of Mantis, trying to make sure he can keep out both Freshy and Executioner. Still not a great deal of assistance coming from Sir Croft. However, I suppose there are a few more units on the field now than we saw before, but a little bit of a drop now from Freshy coming in right around the back of Sir Croft's base. 2 Skyhooks fully laden with Mantis, I believe, coming in right around the back. Needs to drop it off quickly, though. Couple of inties from Sir Croft shadowing this forward one. Down goes the marker. No, it doesn't. Boom. What a waste there, Freshy. Should have dropped them off on the ground. Interceptors come into Freshy to try and afford them some protection. But, however, he has managed to kill off a few units of build capacity. So, some minor victory there for Freshy. But you could see instantly out come the Swift Winds and some Spectres as well. Some T2 gunships there for Legend Lore. Vexy's made the transition to T2 land. We're now seeing some Wagners on the field, but he's also facing off against some Ilshavers there from Executioner, so who's also made the transition to T2. And we've already got a Fat Boy being put together up at the front. That's kind of outrageous, 12 minutes in. And this is what I mean about the level of cooperation between these two. Depony might potentially have overextended a little bit. He's withdrawing, but it's a tactical withdrawal. He's dealing out a fair amount of damage. Meanwhile, Legend Lore continues to accumulate units at the top. Could potentially score a run by now if he moved. But a lot of action going on down here at the bottom, and thank goodness for the air dominance there for Team 2. Interceptors coming in from Freshy from Team 1. Going to try and go after those Spectres, but the Swift Winds make very short work of them. There is at least still one gunship operational. Executioner trying to come in there with a few inties as well. Pony turns up just in time to pop those. So air looking pretty strong now for Team 2. And coupled with the fact that these guys have grabbed the middle, it would seem logical that Team 1 really need to make a breakthrough somewhere, and fast. They've got a lot of ground power in this area. That's going to be the weak point, if there is one. The odd gunship still hovering around there from Legend Lore, but Executioner getting wise to that for Shizzle, bringing in some Ioshivas, some mobile flak for the Seraphim, in short work of those air units. And a forward TAC missile launcher from Executioner. Where's he going for? It looks like he's going for Sir Croft. It would seem a logical attack route to start sniping mass. I'm guessing that's what he's going for. Boom, baby. 1 T2 mass point and 3 mass storage taken out of commission there. But now Spectre's going out to put some damage on Corwin's ACU. Interceptors coming in from Executioner, primarying those gunships. They know they can't win an air battle against the superior odds, but if they can take out the Spectres, of course, it'll at least make sure that Corwin's ACU is protected, and Corwin is starting to span together some air cleaners, some flak. Question is, will he get it done in time before Depony's troops turn up in mass? He's only got a few tanks there, a couple of strikers, Depony, so I think he'll be able to hold those off. Corwin does lose a few units of build capacity there, but not enough to hamper that, and that flak will make him feel a whole lot better. These guys have to be a little bit concerned about the mass T2 gunship rush coming their way. But starting to see some T2 air now from Robo Danny. 3 Stingers landed on the ground. More gunships in production. Depony taking this chance to get a little bit of a scouting run over the top. And pings going on down here, wondering from which team that is. Whether that's a defensive or offensive ping. Freshie and Executioner trying to find some kind of approach so they can get in here and start causing some trouble. At least Sir Croft has his ACU in the area, but he doesn't have overcharge, only 4,000 power in the bank, and that could be really dangerous when you're coming up against these kind of odds. There's a lot of T2 in here. Executioner says back Freshie, and that's actually a little bit of a mistake. I think they could force Croft back here. Yes, there's a lot of T1 on the ground, but that's all it is. There's no T2 here except for one Rhino right at the back. They're assuming, and Freshie saying we have a lot of T2, let's just kill him. But they're assuming, I guess, that Croft at this stage, 17 minutes in, would have access to overcharge. Not privy to the information that we have. That could cost them slightly. Could definitely have made some headway there at the back. Vexy telling Sir Croft to back up slightly. Attack missiles still raining in from Executioner's forward TML. Question is, has Croft got any TMD in place yet? No, he hasn't. That's going to be another T2 mechs out of commission. So taking a look at how these guys are all doing on the eco front, Legend Law not currently reclaiming, but definitely doing the best. He's up there in the 90s. Freshie as well, sorry, also in the 90s. And has got considerably more reclaim as well. So Freshie is ecoing very nicely indeed. The guys in the front, Depony and Vexy, 67 eco, or 67 mass on his eco there for Depony, 40 for Vexy. But Vexy and Sir Croft short stacking on eco by quite a considerable margin. But Team 2 have the top 2 scoring players on the team, so I don't know, it's anybody's call at this stage of the game. 18 minutes gone. So it looks like Freshie and Executioner thinking about making another little push here at the bottom. Starting to see the impact of all that T2. Alpha Strike's just popping those units. They need to take these Wagners out of commission there from Vexy, or one Wagner and one Rhino, sorry. That looks like a pretty clear entry now. Executioner and Freshie looking to push onwards. But we now have T3 air ready to go for Legend Law. He's currently producing T3 engineers and working on T3 power, so we won't see any ASFs coming out just this minute, and unlikely to see any restorers or anything like that either. The pony saying his Fat Boy is 1 minute from being ready, but Freshie storming into the base here. Needs to take out this build capacity and stop the production of this triad as best he can. Lots of engineers going pop. That's definitely going to hurt Sir Croft. 2 triads left online and Sir Croft's ACU, but that ACU still doesn't have overcharge. That's quite a few units getting into the base. They're not going to worry about the commander. They're just trying to damage eco right now. The Ilshiva's primarying that T2 mass point at the back. onwards. Freshie is pushing. If Freshie could do some eco damage to Legend Law, that could really hurt Team 1. They're going to be relying on that air dominance to continue on in the same fashion of this game as the way they have been progressing throughout. But just running out of steam there at the end. One lone Wagner finally gets finished off. But look at this. Fat Boy online, 20 minutes. And forward he moves. Takes down a Ravager once he's depleted that shield. Robo Danny trying to defend with clink hammers. One operational, the second about to be so. You can see shield taking a nasty beating on that Fat Boy. Now we're getting pretty large air engagement in the middle. Team 1 wants to thin out this air so Danny can bring in those stingers and finish off the Fat Boy, but there's far too much going on in the air for those stingers to get anywhere near it, really. Legend Law has a bunch of Spectres up here up top. Freshie dispatches a whole bunch of Interceptors to deal with those, and they're going to get torn apart. Absolutely no air cover left on the map for Team 2. What the hell just happened? That air engagement over the top seemed to go incredibly badly for them. Team 1 have spammed Interceptors like crazy. Also seeing some Corsairs building up back here for Freshie. I'm wondering if we're going to see those employed in some kind of snipe. They might just be working up to an attack on this Fat Boy. But Legend Law threw a whole load of Inties away there. But a GC very nearly done. 65% and climbing. ASF's in production on that air factory, but still that Fat Boy's alive. It's a catch-22 now, really, for Team 2. They want to use this weapon while it's still a novelty on the field, while it's still the only experimental, but not having any kind of air dominance. Further up they push it, the quicker it's going to get taken out. We're now seeing a lot of T3 ground employed there by Freshie. Tons and tons of loyalists seem to be pushing down this way. That's quite a hefty group of T1 and T2 down at the bottom as well. A 3-player mix there from Sir Croft, Pony and Vexy, trying to alleviate the pressure that's been put on this flank for the whole game, really. Got a whole bunch of Vipers here moving forward from Freshie, trying to knock out these emplacements. To do with taking out that Zapper further back. Now more of those missiles to get through. But now that Fat Boy is moving south, would probably be a significantly safer option to take out this base with that Fat Boy rather than risk pushing it up too far and gifting a mass delivery to their opponents. Executioner on the move, doesn't like the fact that artillery shells are raining down on his shield gen there. Freshie says he's going to kill the Fat Boy, but he needs support. He's got an awful lot of Corsairs over there at the edge of the map. The Fat Boy being pinged. We are starting to see ASFs emerge, but not yet a critical amount. A little bit of a run by up top as well from a couple of units there from Legend Law, but not enough to affect any massive damage. And in comes Freshie with a wave of T2 fighter bombers going straight after this Fat Boy. One volley away, depletes the shield, and a couple of missiles there get through onto the body of the Fat Boy, and suddenly a ton of Volthus turn up from Executioner. T2 gunships for Seraphim, raining all shades of blue murder down on top of Depony's Fat Boy, and boom, down it goes. Depony very upset about the lack of air cover. To be fair, Team 1 has spammed those inties pretty damn hard. Meanwhile, Freshie having some success at the bottom. Lots of loyalists down here going to be able to tear through all of this T1 crud. Not only that, he's now accompanied by some Vulthus in the sky there from Executioner. And Team 2 just doesn't have the air support at the moment to be able to deal with those Vulthus. And seeing a gap in the armor, in comes Executioner, going to go straight after Sir Croft's ACU. That ACU, 15,000 HP on it. But there are some ASFs beginning to emerge. These loyalists getting in here. If they could get close to Sir Croft, it might not matter that the Vulthus are slowly getting taken out. Of course, there is a GC in the area there from Legend Law. Sir Croft trying to move under the cover of this shield there. Pony back here, though, spamming up Ravengers. Nice move to get in there and protect his teammate. I like what I see. And that shield offering all the cover I think Sir Croft's going to need. Those 3 loyalists looking rather peaky. There are another 3 coming in. There are now 2 Ravagers online, soon to be 3. That GC could tidy things up in no time at all. Just moved south, and I think it's going to as a contingency measure. Very nicely played indeed from both sides there, but there's still an experimental on the field now for Team 2. But Team 1 getting into the experimental phase themselves. Robo Danny working on a Fat Boy up there. We've got a bug under construction there for Freshie. And suddenly, all was quiet. Let's take a look at how these guys are doing on Eco. So, Freshie, 153. And that's with a pretty serious bottleneck in power that drops down to 80. But 153 seems to be where he was at before he nuked his entire Eco, shoving more engineers onto that bug. Legend Law in the 200 and something range. He's got a pretty significant eco. Sir Croft 207 down to 169, so that was reclaim. Vexy around the 170 mark, and Corwin short stacking pretty badly on eco. I don't know, it's tough to call between him and Executioner, but now we're seeing some T3 on the field for Corwin, some T3 air, a round of spy planes flying over the top of Team 2's base. Legend Law picking off a couple of them with those ASFs. But I think it's fair to say Legend Law is ahead of Corwin in the ASF race. That might be significant as the game moves on. And that brief period of air dominance that Team 1 enjoyed, I think, might well be over. We're also seeing some ASFs on the field now from Sir Croft. Freshie trying to get as much power together as possible. He's still sitting at T2 air. So there's a definite tech disadvantage there for Team 1 in the air. Spectres up here for Legend Law, trying to defend this northern approach from kind of redundant T1 now from Corwin, just sending it in, seeing what stuff he can hoover up with them. Now where's that GC? It's on the move over here at the eastern edge of the map, heading straight towards Executioner and Freshie's front line. That is a nasty looking little base in the middle there, complete with perimeter monitoring station and everything. But I mean, it's still pretty even in terms of map control. You're probably looking at about 55% maybe, or 50% control there for Team 2, 45% for Team 1, 5% untaken. But the question is, has Legend Law exposed his Colossus to unnecessary danger? In come a wave of Corsairs and Volthus from Executioner and Freshie, and Strap Bombers, Ambassadors coming in there from Corwin. Knocks off a good 25% of health immediately in one set of passes there off that Colossus. That's down to around 70k now in HP. But in come the ASFs for Legend Law and shoo away all that air at Colossus. Not looking too bad, all things being considered. That was a nice little engagement, but Team 1 definitely wanted to get in, shed some HP off that Colossus and get out. They might not have known quite how badly they were behind in the air game. Would stand to reason. Corwin building up his ASFs at the back, though not too badly. It's the fact that Freshie isn't currently producing any ASFs. He's still producing Corsairs. He's still on T2. So Croft, admittedly, his eco's a little bit garbage, his score's a little bit garbage, but he is at least producing ASFs and adding them to the pile. Meanwhile, Vexy making a little push up the eastern edge of the map. Not going to get too far. There's a lot of bricks down here for Freshie, but really just serves a purpose of extending the boundaries slightly so his engineers can get in here and hoover up this reclaim. Maybe snag a couple of these mexes. And coming up to 30 minutes gone and all 8 players still in this game. It's beautiful to see. Always nice when you get a nice even match like this. We've now got some trebuchets in the mix there from Freshie. Quite sure what their target is at this very moment, but Legend Law is going to try and push out again with the Colossus. And they will have seen that bug now at the back there. Legend Law is in fact attacking it with his ASFs. But I think that bug's going to be able to weather that storm quite well. And that could be a real turning point in this one. And now Legend Law has lost a bunch of his ASFs hovering over the base there. He will have more, I'm sure of it. There they are over in the west. But that has provided another opening for another set of strafes on this GC. That knocks it down to around 50% of its original HP. In come the ASFs there from Legend Law, knocking out at least 3 or 4 Volthus in one pass, but Corwin responds by bringing in his own ASFs. And once again, that may be tables turned in the air. So incredibly backwards and forwards this game. And now, once again, we've got Freshie on the move at the bottom right-hand corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bricks. Are they going to be able to break through down here? Vexy going to try and spam together a little fire base. He's already got 4 Cerberuses on the ground. He's going to put together a T2 shield gen to cover them as the bricks march on that position. Focusing on the units out in front. Shield goes online. A little bit of rank up in veterancy there as it achieves required amount of points. But that first level of shield is woefully I was about to say unuseful, but you know what I mean. Woefully inadequate. Tears through that, takes out all of the T2 engineers that just spam together those Cerberus turrets, and now it's the turn of the PDs to go down. Legend Law comes in with some Spectres to help cause some trouble, but Freshie's bug is done. Deponi has been busy. He's been working on some ASFs. He's sensed the need for more air power, but the problem is it's the sheer amount that Corwin has on the field, and Robo-Danny's finished his Fat Boy as well, and this could be real trouble. We'll take a look at what's happening in these 2 theaters. We've got Fat Boy Fire coming in onto that central base there from Robo-Danny, and this bug now making its way into the main base area there for Team 2. This could be a real body blow Freshie taking an awful lot of fire. Where's the escort, Freshie? Corwin comes in to finish off those ASFs there from Deponi. Deponi's commander is right there. Freshie finds him. It has got a personal shield, but it's lost far too much health. Look at that. 9 skyboxers sitting there, and incoming mass delivery right on their doorstep. That's going to hurt Team 1 in the long run. And not only that, this GC has got a hard on for this fat boy. It's chasing it down. In comes some stingers to try and kill that GC off before it gets in range of the fat boy. Hit points shed very quickly indeed. The shield goes down, but is unsuccessful, and that means that both of these guys just traded mass deliveries. We've got a crash bug on the doorstep there. Vexy and Deponi, and a Colossus right in front of Robo Danny's base. He's got engineers literally right there, getting right on the case for that reclaim. So astonishingly, no real ground given there. I did think for a minute we were about to lose Deponi. That bug coming into contact down here, but pretty heavy shielding. Of course, Deponi, 18,000 hit points on the comm, 24,000 hit points on the shield, and a whole ton of flak there from Sir Croft, making this a nasty, nasty place to be for Ares. And look at the flayers as well. The T3 SAMs there for UEF, just chilling under the shield. No bug for you, Team 1, unfortunately. But nasty, nasty amounts of T3 units building up down here for Freshie. Team 2 going into full turtle mode down here. And got to be said, Team 2 very lucky to still be in possession of this forward base. We have another fat boy in play. Actually, that one never got destroyed, did it? I'm surprised we aren't seeing it move forward as we speak, but I can hear some bombs going off. It's up here for Corwin. Couple of ambassadors just taking out a small group of T1 hovering at the edge of the map there. ASFs jostling for supremacy. No real clear advantage at all, but Freshie is on the move now. Pony spamming defense up here, and he's going to want Sir Croft to move his vehicles. He's not going to be able to complete any of those structures. Loyalists need to be moved in. Get in here around the back. This could be major troubles. Freshie, pay attention, my friend. And Deponi being given so much time to throw together defenses at the back here. And those loyalists being pinged. That is really unfortunate. Needs to deploy those trebuchets as well and get some fire coming down on this base. That is really unfortunate. That's why you've always got to be on the ball when you're initiating an attack like that. Just as it looks like that mechs might be about to complete to T3, I suspect it's probably about to be destroyed. But now we've got a bug out for Deponi. Just when I said we weren't going to see any bugs from Deponi because he was going UEF, he's like, nah, I'll just borrow my mate's tech, it's fine. And I hesitate to say it, but Freshie, major error there. Had he moved those loyalists straight in, he could have caused tremendous amount of damage. Took a while for that bug to go online, but now that attack will peter out. There is a ton of T3 units coming out of Freshie's side of the map. And now we're finally seeing some ASFs from him as well. So the game is starting to evolve. Players changing their priorities. Got a shocker out there for Legend Lore as well. Aeon Strap Bomber working on some of Freshie's forward units. And the pony says, great game so far. I heartily concur. 36 minutes game time gone. All 8 players still in the game. What is going on back here? Freshie on an upgrade? Or is he teleporting? What have we got on the comm there, Freshie? What are you up to? T2 Engineering Suite. Must be upgrading. It's upgrading something. I still sometimes get confused with the teleporting graphic, but it's so strange to see him up at the top of the map there. He's surely planning something. And really, in terms of map control as well, very little has changed. Just not sure why you would upgrade your comm right at the top of the screen. What the benefit is to that. Answers on a postcard, guys, if you can tell me. Why not do it in your base? Nasty, nasty amount of ASFs in the air for Team 1, and that's going to be their priority right now. They know that there is a bug still on the field. Kind of intel do they have on it? Nothing. Their intel is really quite bad. They really need to get an Omni in place, but they nonetheless know that there is a bug around, and they're going to have to win an air battle to take it out. Suddenly this game has turned into a full-on air race. Freshie, I think Corwin could do with a hand over here in the sky. And engagement ensues. Corwin versus Depony and Sir Croft. Freshie coming across the map to assist. Question is, has he got there in time? And now they can see the bug. Depony well aware of the dangers. He's not going to risk it unnecessarily. Nice wall section building there from Legend Lord. Doesn't want anything coming in that side of the map. So Team 1 looking dominant in the air still, and that means, for the moment at least, that bug is redundant. Depony can't do anything with it until they get ahead in the air game. Another Fat Boy under construction there for Danny. Surprised we haven't seen any nukes yet. We do have some nuke defense in place. Doesn't look like anyone on Team 1 is building anything crazy like that at all. We do have a nuke launcher there for Legend Law, and that's 50% done on a nuke as well. That could be instrumental in this game. It's an avenue of attack that is not currently available to Team 1. And Vexy is making a little bit of a push up the eastern edge of the map, but he's not going to get too far. Inferior tech, inferior numbers, and there's also a chicken out here for Executioner as well. And now Robo Danny posturing with that Fat Boy. He's got another one virtually ready at the back there. Can afford to risk this one, and he wants to take out this forward base. Don't blame him. There is so much eco tied up in that base in terms of static defense, and that will definitely allow for a little bit more mobility around the map for Team 1's air. All of those Myrmidons that Vexy put up, and the air cleaners from Depony. There is a Fat Boy rolling in from Depony at the same time. It'll take him a moment to get there. And you can see the instant loss of ASFs as they make a pass over the top of that middle base. Sam's absolutely lethal, especially in that number. They're going to want to finish off that base ASAP. Forward comes Executioner. Large air fracas over this side of the map as well between Sir Croft and Freshie. Freshie doesn't want to lose all his ASFs. He's well outnumbered now with the arrival there of Deponi's ASFs. And if Team 1 lose the air game, that will give free rein on that bug once again. But Executioner has a pretty healthy stack of air units himself. Surprisingly, Executioner deciding not to push with that chicken. Danny, in the meantime, though, happy to push on this central base. Got a bunch of Percival's taking most of the flak from that fat boy. They're just so tanky, though. I think it's fair to say that that is the end, to all intents and purposes, of that fire base that served Team 2 so well for so long. 41 minutes essentially gone in this game, and still all 8 players in it. Freshie's still on an upgrade back here. We'll see if we can tell what he's actually doing. T2 Engineering Suite. He's got a microwave laser generator, so he is going Masercom. Needs to shake this up a little bit. Perhaps he scouted that nuke launcher. But in comes the bug for Deponi, going straight after that fat boy. There's a lot of flak back here from these skyboxers. Danny needs to move them forward and put some fire on that bug, but that bug is allowed to come forward, swap that fat boy, and move back under cover of all these Myrmidons, which are still in place. Actually can't believe it. And meanwhile, Danny throwing away his ASFs as he pursues, but he's just a little bit too late. If only those skyboxes had been brought up with him, he would have done okay, but it's alright, says Danny. I've got another one. And onwards that rolls. Take a look at who's been doing better out of reclaim. Deponi, borderline 100,000 mass reclaim. Freshie, 40,000. Legend Law, 12,000. Corwin, 16,000. Robo Danny, 30,000. Executioner, 21,000. Vexy, 33,000. And Sir Croft, 10,000. So Deponi, by quite a clear margin, has had the best of the reclaim in this game so far. While this bug has moved down here to the bottom to prevent Executioner and Freshie from making a move on this base again through this channel, which has been so hotly contested throughout this game. And finally, Vexy and Sir Croft seem to be able to meet this threat on even terms on the ground. We've got a lot of bricks, we've got Percival's, and a lot of D that's been placed up around here as well throughout the last couple of attacks. How is Freshie doing? Freshie's finished whatever upgrade he was just on. Probably the teleport. There it is. So he's got T2, he's got teleport, and he's got Maser. He's ready to go at a moment's notice. Question is, who do you take out? Personally, I think you want to take out Deponi. And Deponi busy building a Duke, and this could really change things up. Legend Law says he has a nuke ready, so all they really have to do is go and snipe a nuke defense and try and find a way in. They can cause massive damage. Freshie says he's ready and he can go for a snipe, so game about to hot up now.
Strategic launch detected.
And there goes the nuke. The question is, where is it heading? It's going for the fat boy and all those units in the middle. That's going to be very painful indeed for Danny. He's done most of the damage in the middle that he needs to. There's still 5 or so Myrmidons in action. He'd want to have taken those out. If he's going to do it, though, I think he's going to have to do it with other units, because these two groups here of units between Corwin, or mostly Danny, is about to get nuked. Boom, baby. There goes the fat boy. A lot of those skyboxers survived, but they're running straight into a bunch of T1 spam from Deponi. Of course, they're not going to be able to fight back. They're not going to be of much use at all. And that's a very nice nuke indeed. That certainly opens the door slightly now for Team 2. Relieves the pressure. Holy engineer, Batman. Look at that. How many engineers are we running there, Deponi? 220 something. 230 something. It's no biggie. It's funny seeing all of these T2 units running from a band of T1, but there's nothing that those skyboxers can do about it. Oh my goodness, and Freshie at 44 minutes jumps in there. Did he take out Legend Law? No, he didn't. Legend Law's way up here. It looks like he teleported straight to the nuke launcher and was unsuccessful, to say the least, and that really changes things up in this one. Apologies for missing that, but you know how it is with the teleport. So very difficult to catch it as it happens. And there goes Freshie stuff. Finally, after 44 minutes, we find out that no fairies have to die because full share is off the way it should be. And now a race for Team 1 to reclaim all of this mass, of which there is plenty. You can see Executioner funneling a portion of his engineers over this way to hoover up that mass, get to work on those mass points. And still that bug is alive from earlier. Only 62 kills, but of course his mobility has been greatly affected by a lack of dominance in the air for Team 2. Legend Law says he's switching up to bombers. Now, what, if anything, can Team 1 do to respond? Decent air production there for Danny. Freshie wasn't making a huge amount of air, so they're not going to suffer too badly in air. It's been mostly these three guys. I say mostly, it's been Executioner and Corwin working on the air throughout this game. Danny's been doing a little bit, about as much as Freshie, but Vexy, seeing the hole in the defensives, is trying to push up, maybe to grab a few engineers or something, hamper this reclaiming of this base, this operation, but I don't think they're going to get too far with it. Far too many of Executioner's units being funneled east to the edge of the map. All this T1 going to get there first. Not going to be too successful there, I don't think. A few bombers out there for Corwin though, couple of strats. Going after one single solitary brick from Vexy before being brought home. Deponi comes in to try and knock those out of commission, but isn't going to chase. As these bricks from Vexy make contact with the forward approaches of Executioner's base, that chicken under cover of that shield gen turns, starts knocking those bricks down. As soon as Vexy realizes there's one there, he changes tack. And enter a long period of decision making. These guys all wondering now, I suspect, what the best route is, the best plan of attack. Either way, Team 1 is behind. They're going to have to think of something. Team 2 can afford to sit back, continue to build, continue to eco. Team 1 do not have that luxury. And there was a Duke under construction, and I thought I heard it just go off. It has now been completed, and that's a whole other problem coming their way, which they're now going to have to try and deal with. Continuous arty fire. One Duke not going to be enough to break through heavily shielded base sections. Certainly go after mass points that are exposed, go after large groups of build capacity that are emerging from the edges of the shields. That's something that needs to get dealt with. Otherwise, Team 2 are going to find themselves in a cycle of shield building and not thinking about attack. At this level, that is a death sentence. The pony queuing up some kennels there, some engineering stations. Don't see a lot of those in this game. Not at this level anyway. They are an incredibly useful piece of kit if you can get to a point where you're able to use them. And to Freshie's credit, he did manage to take out that nuke launcher. Would love to have seen what actually took him out. There is an Oblivion turret back here, but it's not a great deal of stuff. Might even have been that Soul Ripper, in all fairness. But that will buy them some time, at least, before the next nuke comes their way. And Executioner seems to have been the one who's hoovered up most of this mass, or at least claimed the mass points. But still, 48,000 mass compared to Depony's 157,000 mass reclaimed. And he's actually been full barring quite a lot of it. Overflow, of course, being transferred into his teammates' coffers. And Team 1 at the moment just looks sedentary. They don't look like they've got any plan of attack. Can't really blame them for what they have had to endure. Things would be very different if they hadn't lost Freshie. And while Sir Croft hasn't contributed a huge amount to this game, the fact that he's still in it and all of that eco is still in use. It hasn't been an interruption in eco for Team 2 like there has been for Team 1. That makes a real difference. That chicken there just making contact with a few units from Vexy. Mixture of T1 and T3. Doesn't look like he wants to push it. He wants to try and stay under cover of this shield as best he can. He knows that that's his best bet. Bricks, of course, still incredibly dangerous to experimentals. And take a quick look at the air game. Who's doing what? So we've got 74 ASS for Executioner. Corwin has 54. Robo Danny 48. So we're looking at about 170 odd ASFs there for Team 1. Let's take a look at Team 2. 100 there for Depony. Bang on the nose. Sir Croft has 50. And then a few more for Vexy and Legend Law. 16 there for Vex. So, I mean, there's not a huge amount in it, but there's a definite slight advantage, I think, for Team 2. Of course, that's spread over 4 players instead of 3, so the cohesiveness, the coordination is going to be slightly off. Now, a few of these units from Vexy and Sir Croft moving forward to try and take out this chicken. And the Percivals are going to be a major problem. Finally, those shields are depleted, and we've got a ton of strap bombers, shockers there up at the bottom of the map for Legend Law. See where he's going with that. He's just going to the bottom right-hand corner. We've also got a Fat Boy now moving in for Danny. That chicken taking a kicking. AoE, of course, splash, of course, very good from the chicken. I think he's going to lose it, but he'll deal the necessary damage to take out most of those, I think. But those shockers have disappeared for Legend. I think Corwin took it out. Now we've got a large engagement in the air. Lots of ambassadors were queuing up there from Corwin, ready to go after that group of units. Getting kind of caught in the crossfire here of what is a major air battle between 4 players. Possible at this point to tell who's winning, I think. Second chicken is doing alright. A couple of strats coming in there from Legend. Getting popped immediately by Danny's ASFs, who arrive on the scene in the nick of frickin' time to alleviate the pressure in the air. And I don't believe it. This looks like a considerable win over here in the air for Team 1. That's a real mistake. Look at all these ASFs up here from Legend. I don't know why he wasn't getting involved earlier. But in comes the bug, but that's a lot of skyboxers. This is an ambitious move from Pony. He's trying to finish off the fat boy. There are a lot of mobile shield gens though, a lot of parashields in the area. Danny needs to move these in, but a quick rank of veterancy replenishes all of the HP on that bug. Danny needs to get a pass off now. In they comes. One pass takes it down to 75%, but the fat boy goes down. That bug has to pull out. Still taking a lot of fire from all those skyboxers on the ground. Those ASFs from Danny wheel once again. The other group that separated just moments ago come in to attack. Will they snag it? They're going to start taking fire from the main bases though. If they hang around, it goes into the red. It's 3,000 HP and they break off. Are you kidding me? Pony retains his bug. 2,000 hit points only left in the tank on that sucker. My goodness. But even so, that fat boy's gone down. There's still a lot of units on the ground here. And there's still a chicken encroaching from the east from Executioner. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Team 2, despite having taken out one of, or rather, despite Team 1's player going in for the kill, going in for a gamble and it not being successful and paying for it with his life, despite getting that minor victory, they are down to what looks like just 30% or so, 35% map control. Of course, now there is a Scathis in play. So if they can hold on, if they can turtle up, they might still grab this. That bug comes in, but finally surely bitten off more than he can chew. And Corwin pops it, but of course it does land in very friendly territory there for Team 2. So it won't be the end of the world there for Pony, but that's a lot of build capacity that he's going to want to self-destruct so as not to afford free veterancy to that chicken. And indeed he does. Control K goes down. There's a lot of T3 on the field though. Ground T3 for Vexy. EMPs going off all over the place with the destruction of those loyalists. Oh, he's going to want to break the shield. He's going to want to knock out this power plant. He's going to want to take out this nuke defense. So much to kill and so little life expectancy. That's going to be a nice plasma burst. The shield takes the brunt of it though. He does take out the nuke defense. And that's quite a considerable hole that's been punched in the front of Vexy's base, but they still have that Scathis, they still have that Duke. Percival's still posturing here from Danny. Trying to find a route in, but Pony has been so busy with defense down here. This is a tough nut to crack. That Duke, of course, happily will be able to reach into the center of Team 1's base, but of course the Scathis, the modern Scathis, not going to have the range Control of that has been passed to the pony, as surely Vexy will no longer have the power to effectively run it. And you can see that line there dropping well short of the main base. So if Team 2 want to make that Scathis work, if they want to make use of it effectively, they're going to have to build some kind of forward base, some kind of protective base further up and move that Scathis into it. Of course, the Scath is moving considerably faster these days than it used to. Another chicken, this time from Corwin, and it's a regular feature of these things now. If you build an experimental, send it in with tons of flak or you die. Certainly, considering the game has gone on for 55 minutes now and still only one player down, and to be fair, that was through his own making. He would still be in this game, I'm certain of it, had he not gone for the Mazacom. Yes, it took out the nuke launcher. A cheaper option would have been to make sure everyone has nuke defense and just make sure you build enough ASFs to keep the strat bombers out. This game has had such gradual progression. All of these bases are so incredibly well fortified now that the SAMs alone would make life very difficult for strat bombers coming in to go and snipe nuke defense. Corwin getting reasonably close with that chicken, only to find a GC waiting for him there from Depony. And the Ion Storm not even going to have the luxury of doing much damage in that wake, probably only going to reach the odd engineer and that T3 air factory. Of course, Colossus will take a couple of hits as well. But like you see, the Duke not posing any real threat. This shield 50%, this shield 70-80%, this shield 80-90%. One Duke will not cut the mustard, and we have an Awasa, an experimental bomber in production there from Corwin. That's going to be very interesting indeed. This game has been so closely contested in the air. So far we haven't seen flying experimentals used to their full potential, and that will have to be no exception. If he wants to use that, he's going to have to be incredibly skillful with it, or he's going to have to make sure that they win some outrageous air battle first before he even thinks of deploying it. Starlifter coming in there for Corwin, getting shot down at the last moment, but does manage to land the engineers down here. Wants to get as much of the mass off that Fat Boy wreck as he can. See the occasional artillery shell flying past there. The pony asking for Aeon T3 NGs. And they really are going to have to move that Scathis further up. It's more or less cleaned out everything that was on this forward position. All it's going after now is the odd Seraphim T3 anti-air emplacement. And the pony spamming Fat Boys together now. There's actually a lot of mass down here for Team 2 to hoover up. There's been consistent attacks over the last 20 minutes from Team 1, and it could be dangerous. They haven't caused any kind of cataclysmic damage. Everything is more or less functional. Yes, they've been pushed back slightly. The bases are encroaching closer to the corner as they're looking for more space to build. They're incredibly well set up, well shielded, and all of this mass could make life very difficult indeed for Team 1. Groups of stingers hovering around there for Danny, who is assisting Corwin in the construction of this experimental bomber in a big way. There are way more engineers there in burgundy red than cyanide cyan. And the Scathis is at last on the move. Where is it on the move to? Can we see? Stopping there for the moment. Turning those telescopic barrels, but an ambassador coming in from Corwin, going straight after the Scathis, has depleted the shields. And of course, one of the problems with the rover stations, those are air units. And when those air units, those rover drones, are under the shields, the ASFs can fire at them, and that can instantly shut down your shields. Ambassadors coming in, knocking the Scathis down to 14,000 HP. Luckily for Team 2, that's all Corwin had. He did not have enough strats to complete the attack. Scathis can go about its business. Pony making damn sure that shields are a priority. And a Tsar in production as well at the back here. That's what Topony wanted the Aeon T3 engineer for. Another attack coming in from Corwin. Only 2 ambassadors, not enough to break the shield. And Topony's not even concerned about these strap bombers that are coming in. He's going to just march that sucker out the front door and worry about protecting it when it gets there. Another strat coming in from Corwin. More pings going down on the Scathis. Bombs away, it's going to hit, and Topony really needs to be careful here. 12,000 HP, and he wisely brings it back in to safer ground. Going to get a little bit of a shield creep on. That's probably the best way to do it. Corwin's not going to let up. And we now have an experimental bomber completed there for Team 1. So much shielding there for Executioner, who is borne the brunt of the artillery attack from Topony's Duke, and even the Scathis as well. That's been going after his forward emplacements predominantly. Couple of Vulthus there for Executioner, trying to make life difficult for one lone loyalist. They get shot down by a wave of ASFs from Legend Lore. Finally, that loyalist is dispatched by some relieving Othams turn up from Executioner. And it's interesting that they've continued throughout this game to push down this side. Yes, this is quite well barred off, but there's virtually no defense here compared to everything that's stacked up down this side, and yet they've continued to push throughout this game. But 2 GCs now for Legend Lore heading north, and there certainly isn't a lot that Team 1 has at their disposal to deal with that. They bring out the bomber. That's going to provoke an air fight, which they have to win. Is that Scathis in range of anything important now? That is the question. Yes, it is, and away it rains down on the front of the base. You can see this time it's Danny's turn to face the barrage. Executioner flies his ASFs over the top of those GCs just to make sure it's clear. Can bring in the bomber if they want to. Certainly get one bomb off and then bring it out. There is also a bug now here at the bottom. Soul Ripper for Vexy. Even more incentive not to lose the air battle that is brewing. I feel it in my bones. I know it's coming. But Danny's base just getting peppered now by the Scathis. He's actually got a lot of clink hammers back here. Obviously, not going to help him against the Scathis, but reactionary from earlier, I guess, from the few forward attacks the pony employed with a Fat Boy. And we've now passed the 1 hour mark in this game, so it is officially epic. Those GCs once again making their way north. This is going to be utterly, utterly crucial. And out comes the bomber. Lands one right in the middle of these two. That'll be some nice AoE damage, but it goes overhead and doesn't drop. That's got to annoy you. The kill order goes out from Depony. Legend Law's the first one in there. Corwin brings his ASFs in to defend, gets in behind that forward batch, gets a good solution on those. The second batch comes in from Legend Law. Danny gets in behind those, and now Executioner comes in to follow up, and that's going to be a nice little win in the air there, I think, for Team 1. Legend Law surely not going to have enough ASFs to finish those off. So Croft is now moving in with his own ASFs, but because they've come in staggered, do they actually have enough? Team 1 need to engage and take out as many of these as they can. And one pass is probably all that Sir Croft would need. Needs to protect that bomber. Croft's deciding against it for the moment. There's a couple of chickens up here, so they don't need to worry about that GC too much. There's just this one now that is moving in, but look at the carnage being rained down, this time upon Executioner. All of that long-range artillery peppering his base. Fat Boy gets busy pummeling away on that GC at range. A few strats overhead as well for Danny. They need to do something creative with this bomber, with these strat bombers. Depony's comm is up front, but he's got so many hit points on him. Gonna need more strats than that. Launch nuke, so the nuke defense in Executioner's base has succumbed to that Scathis. And that nuke is ready to go for Legend Law. Away it goes.
Strategic launch detected.
And that's surely going to be game. They know it's coming now. All that's left is to throw what they can at Team 2 and hope they get lucky. In come the strats. In come... No, the experimental bomber isn't moving. That's a mistake. And of course, those shields instantly depleted by the ASFs overhead firing at those NG drones. Overcome the strats. What are they even going for? I have no idea. Like they failed to drop their bombs. The nuke goes to land. We'll slow it down. We'll take a look at these two instances as they happen. Executioner is dead. The nuke has taken him out. Boom, baby. So at 1 hour, 4 minutes, Executioner goes down. That bomber definitely isn't getting another pass. Depony in good shape. Yes, he's taken a bit of a hit on his shield. 7,000 HP left out of a 36,000 HP on the shield, but he's still got 18k in the bank on the tank. And happily rebuilding shield gens to hide behind. And surely that's going to be game. No chance, I don't think, of Robo Danny and Corwin holding off Team 2 now. And that Tsar very nearly finished indeed. Of course, that Scathis can just be reprioritized now. The pony already throwing out the GG. He knows it's over. As Danny's base slowly succumbs to that rain of artillery fire falling down on him. Strap bombers take off. Snipes all they've got now, and it's not even a particularly good plan at this point. They just don't have the power. There's too much tank, too much air coverage, too much turtle going on for Team 2. Waves from Danny and Corwin coming in, going straight for the Scathis, I think. Much more concerned about the Scathis than the snipe. I got a couple of hits on it, take it down to around 22k. But that won't worry Team 2 at all. They are entirely air dominant now. And there is a Tsar belonging to Deboni heading straight for him. That Scathis as well, doing its work as only a Scathis can. Deboni's absolutely wrecked Danny's base with that machine. Corwin's comm at the back. He has got a personal shield. 24,000 hit points on that. Building Continentals. He's sticking his commander on a Continental, I think. The Tsar at the moment going straight for Danny, though. Gets overhead. The beam away. The shield finally buckles. There's only so long a commander can deal with that level of energy falling on his face. And down he goes. Corwin trying to escape, trying to board a Continental, it looks like. But the Tsar coming straight for him. Little desync at the end there, but we won't worry about that. And a Control K to finish things off there from Corwin. So GG, 1 hour, 7 minutes. Outrageously close, outrageously entertaining game. That's probably one of the closest games I've seen. I don't even know when. I can't even think of a closer game in recent history. That's absolutely outrageous. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.